Hey there, my name is Will Johnston, and I am the Director of Build Community here at Eastside. I'm excited to take just a few minutes and share with you about where we're headed with groups this fall. We're moving to a group system called free market groups. And the idea is that groups can be built around anything that you're interested in or that you're passionate about. And so you can continue to do a traditional group based around a sermon discussion, based around studying scripture. Or you can think up new ways of doing groups, new ways of gathering people with common interests. So you might do a Saturday morning surfing group, or a group that gets together with other people who love to go to Disneyland and have annual passes. Maybe your group is a basketball team that plays in a local rec league. Whatever it is that you enjoy, you can build a group around it. Groups really exist for three reasons: to help people make friends, follow Jesus, and make a difference. And those are three things that can happen in any context. The reality is that you can do those three things in a regular Bible study type group, and you can fail to do them in a Bible study type group. If you're not intentional about what's happening, you can just gain a bunch of head knowledge and not make friends, follow Jesus, or make a difference. By the same token, if you're on a basketball team and you're leading that and you're intentional about what happens, the conversations that are had, you can help people make friends with each other, help people follow Jesus, take next steps in their spiritual journey, and make a difference on the community around you. It's really about the intentionality that you as a leader bring to that. And so we want to be encouraging you to think about what type of group is it that you might want to lead. What is it that you might want to do? Think outside the box. It could be surfing or crafting or board games. It could be a group that works with local compassion. It could be a group based around kind of an age and stage of life. Now, as part of this, we want to make sure that groups are really doing those three things: making friends, following Jesus, and making a difference. And now, making friends is one pretty obvious. We know what that looks like. Don't need to spend too much time on that. But following Jesus, there's two things that we believe can help people follow Jesus in the context of our groups. The first one is that each week we just want to include either scripture, prayer, or story. Those three things can kind of help people take those next steps. The first one, or the first two, I should say, prayer and scripture, pretty obvious what those are. We've been doing those in groups for a long time. The third one, story, is really just testimony. Sharing the good things that God is doing in your life and other group members, sharing the good things that God is doing in their lives. The second way that we can help people follow Jesus is just as a leader to be able to identify a next step for everyone who is in your group. Just being able to say, this person doesn't even know Jesus yet. And so their next step is maybe to be open to faith, or their next step is to take the step of deciding to follow Jesus. Maybe their next step is baptism. For some people, it might be deciding to read their Bible every day. For others, it might be deciding to go to a counselor with their spouse. It could be taking a step into leading a small group themselves. Wherever that person is, it's helping them identify and take that next step. Make friends, follow Jesus. And then the third one, make a difference. There's two ways that we do this. One is by partnering with local compassion and saying, where in the community can I serve? And then the second is just reaching out to the people who are around you. Maybe you're a Bible study group that holds barbecues for neighbors. And by doing so, you can introduce people to people who know Jesus, who are in your group, with the eventual idea of introducing them to Jesus himself. Same thing in a basketball group. You can invite anybody to come play basketball. And so the way that your basketball group might make a difference is that if you all invite people who don't yet know Jesus and they become a part of that community and they experience the love of Christ and they experience who Jesus is. Now, we have 4 core principles for our groups, ways that we're gonna help execute on all 3 of these things. Be consistent, be open, be reproducing, and be expectant. 4 core principles, spells core conveniently enough. So be consistent. Before I get to consistency, just want to let you know, we're moving to a semester system with groups. The idea is that when you ask people for a 2 or 3 month commitment, it's a lot easier than asking them for a commitment that lasts until Jesus returns, or they die, or they move to Barstow just to get out of the group. So we're moving to semesters, which will run September through December, January through April, and then June, July. As part of that, because we're going to be taking some breaks and we're building in some natural breaks between those groups will meet about 34 times a year, 13 weeks in the fall and spring and 8 over the summer. We want groups to meet weekly and have that consistency and that rhythm. Because the reality is that if you're meeting 34 times a year, but you only meet every other week, now you're down to about 17 or 18. And that's not a great rhythm to get to know people. Be consistent. Be open. We just want groups to be open to new people. The reality is that when groups are open to new people, they're healthier. They don't become ingrown and kind of an unhealthy holy huddle, us four and no more mentality. And then God has blessed us with lots of new people. And so we as people who have community need to be willing to be open and welcoming to folks who haven't had an opportunity to find that at Eastside yet. Be consistent, be open, be reproducing. We as leaders have a responsibility to raise up new leaders. Great leaders create new leaders. They don't hold their leadership to themselves, but they pass off leadership responsibilities to others and develop leaders and help them become leaders themselves. This is actually going to be the way that we begin to launch new groups. No longer are we going to get people together in a room and have 8, 10, 12 people have a discussion and then kind of pick a leader from within them. We're going to ask you as leaders and I as a leader to identify potential leaders, invest in them, and then raise them up. Then we're going to take them through an onboarding process where we'll ask people to go to a training, fill out a short application, kind of do an interview with one of our small group directors or assistant directors, and then sign a leadership agreement that just says, this is what I'm committing to as a leader. And that'll be the way that we're launching a group. So my challenge to you as a leader is think about who's been in your group who might be ready to take that next step. That's the only way we're going to start enough groups to really help get all Eastsiders connected, to help them all come into a community where they can make friends, follow Jesus, and make a difference. If you've got somebody in mind, just want to encourage you to send me an email and connect me with them. And I can begin walking them through that process. Be consistent, be open, be reproducing, and then be expectant. Just be open to how God is moving and what God is doing in your group. Sometimes it might require us to stretch a little bit. Maybe being expectant means that we're open when we weren't before it, and maybe that isn't what we love as a group. Maybe that's allowing our group to die so that 3 new ones can rise from the ashes. Whatever that is, just be expectant, be looking for what God is doing next. Those are our 4 core principles. Be consistent, be open, be reproducing, and be expectant. All right, I just want to get into some real basic nuts and bolts stuff. We're going to ask you to register your group each semester, and there's a link right here on the screen, as well as one in the email that I sent out with this video in it for you to do that. We need to get some more details and more information about your group. Again, with the semester system, you're only making that 8-week or that 13-week commitment, and so we need to know the next semester whether or not your group is continuing. Now, as part of this, we're asking for that registration. Then we're going to ask kind of mid-semester for you to fill out a brief survey. It'll only take a few minutes, not going to ask for much from you. But what we're not going to be doing any longer is taking weekly attendance. And so you won't need to bother come the fall with filling out that attendance report every week. So we're actually going to ask for a lot less. But those 2 things that we are asking from you are really key to us being able to do our jobs well and to help support you as a leader. All right. Just briefly on the kind of structure of groups, because we're moving to this free market model, we'll have all kinds of different groups. We're kind of organizing groups into what we're calling hubs. We have 7 of them, and those are men, women, families, study, discussion, and prayer. That's kind of one study, discussion, and prayer groups. Care and recovery groups is our 5th hub. Interest groups, so that's sports, activities, groups based around kind of age and stage, all that stuff. And then compassion. Groups that really get out and serve the community together. So all groups will fall under one of those 7 hubs that is led by a director and a team of assistant directors. And they're really there to help people walk through that leadership pipeline, to strategize and plan for what group needs are in that area, help you as leaders troubleshoot, and work with you as you're looking to make friends, follow Jesus, and make a difference, to help plan how you can do that most effectively as a group. The fall semester is going to run September 10-11, that weekend of September 10-11 through December 9th. The deadline to register a group for the fall will be Wednesday, August 3rd. And again, that link is right here on the screen as well as in the email that I sent out. The training and application deadline for new leaders is Wednesday, August 3rd. And the dates for the training for the summer are the weekend of June 25, 26 during our Saturday service, and then during the 10:30 service on Sunday. Saturday, July 23 and 24, again during the Saturday service, and then at 10:30 on Sunday. Those take place in Tower North. So if you have somebody in your group who's ready to lead or ready to maybe take that step of going to the training, I'd love to have you connect them with me. But if you don't get around to that or whatever, they can just show right up at that training. No need to pre-register, and we can get them signed up and started right there. I want to just leave you with that idea. That is really my big challenge to you out of this. There's two things. One is think about what type of group you might want to lead, what your interests and passions are. It might be continuing to do what you've already been doing, but it might be branching out and really leveraging a hobby or a sport you love or a group of people that you're passionate about or somewhere you like to serve to start a group based around that. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, who do you know from your group or even from outside of your group who might be ready to take that step into leadership, and go ahead and connect them with me. Hey, appreciate you, appreciate the way that you serve here at Eastside, and I'm excited to be serving with you.